I take a lot of things with a pinch of salt, like the experiences and stuff. And some people can't handle certain situations. I think that's why they don't have such a positive experience. But I also like a lot of things. I don't view them as racist because like I was subjected to a lot of like racism back home. So when I compare it, I'm like.
Welcome to another episode of the Melanated Files. My name is Ranzo and I'm your host today. And today we are joined by Setshaba from South Africa. We're going to get into his story today, and we're actually in this beautiful gallery called Pama Cafe and Art Gallery located in
Chumbro.
So Setshaba,
yeah,
right? Tell me why South Korea, right?
It wasn't like something I just wanted to like. I didn't like Google the place. I'm like, oh, let me check this place. I saw it more as an opportunity to travel.
Okay.
So like at university, like at my university specifically in South Africa, like a lot of my friends, when it came to like summer vacation, it was winter in South Africa, but it was like summer in the northern hemisphere.
I see, okay.
They would always go to like Europe and everywhere, and I'd be like, man, I also want to do that.
Yeah.
And then so because like I graduated last year in December from my honors degree, so
nice.
I didn't want to go into like just like working like everyone, so I just wanted to like do something different for a while. And then I looked at the opportunity, and I was like, you know what? It's traveling, experiencing a new culture. Why not? And I've always seen myself as someone who dares to like go where no one else has gone. So I was like, you know what? Let me just come here and experience this. It wasn't really like I was like interested in the culture. I just became interested when I came here, but before that, I didn't know much about the country.
So did you like Google? Did you just go on Google and just type like, what did you search for?
Oh no. There was.
Did you happen upon
I was leaving one of my lectures, and then like in the next door room there was a recruitment agency that recruits like South Africans and that recruits people who want to come and teach in South Korea.
Yes.
So they were giving a presentation. Like I just happened to be leaving one lecture, and it was like on my lunch break. I was like, you know what, let me just sit and hear what they say. And then they caught my attention, and then like I gave them my details, they sent me information, and then from there on I just like gave them the documents and everything.
So you're here teaching English, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
at
what
elementary school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what has that experience been like so far?
Interesting. Like I love my school. Like the kids are like, because I've never taught anyone anything before.
Okay.
So I was like a bit worried that how am I gonna teach these kids?
Yeah.
But like I just like researched. There's a lot of like resources online you can like find and that help you teach. And then it also like, I forgot to mention, there was someone from my university who had been here already.
Okay.
So I just messaged them, and they gave me like the experience of like how they found the place and everything. And they also sent me some material they used to like teach their kids.
Okay.
So I used some of that, and then like it's a bit difficult sometimes, but like now it's actually something I never thought I'd love, but now like it's so easy to just like, there's days where I probably shouldn't say this, but just days where I freestyle what I'm teaching. I get there at like 40 minutes before class. I'm like, okay, make a quick PowerPoint and like do something interesting, because I always try to keep my lessons interesting for the kids, because like what they learn in like Korean classes and all that, it's always so intense, and they don't get to do things that are fun. So I just try to make the language more fun for them, so they can learn more. So I think so far I'm doing a good job.
So how has the kids responded to you? Like, you come in,
the first thing, actually my kids, the area that I teach at, one of the most famous Korean soccer players was born there, Park Ji-sung.
Okay.
So he's from that, it's his hometown. So like the area, like a lot of kids play soccer there. So the first thing they asked is, can I play soccer?
Yeah.
And then I'm back home, I'm a terrible player, but like, they don't know that. So like the first day of school, I was there, like I rocked up in a suit. I was like, but they're like, and so like the boys, like the older boys came to him, they're like, hey, like you wanna play soccer? I was like, okay. And I was like, you know what's the worst thing that happened? And then so
What
like
happened?
so I just took off my blazer and I played, and then I got so tired. But like they were very good, and like I think that bridged the gap a lot, because like the kids saw me as like just someone who's playing soccer with them. And like I don't think any of the teachers at the school do that with the kids, where they actually play with the kids at break.
Okay.
So that's like I think that was like a great icebreaker that I just like took a leap of faith, like let me just play soccer with these kids. And like now every day they just like, I just see I know who's coming. I'm like, I see him holding a ball, I'm like, soccer time. Like
so you play like daily now, or what was it?
There's just like, it depends, but I try to do it at least once a week.
Okay.
But like because every day it's just too much. Like, it just takes too, because they have so much energy, and then but like just too much. But like about once a week I play with them, and then but like then the other kids, like they just stared, a lot of staring. Like where I teach, it's like countryside. There's like in Seoul there's black people. Like Koreans don't really stare at you here. Like it's like in the country, like you get stares like. So
you said you live like about 4 hours out.
4 hours away from Seoul.
What's the place called again?
Goheung.
Okay.
Goheung, it's like it's
Any other black people? Have you seen any black people?
Oh, actually there is a teacher also in my area from the UK. Yeah, she was born in Nigeria but like grew up in the UK, so she lives there as well.
Okay.
But yeah, she's not like, I hardly see her, but like but as like the only black man there, like I only see other black people in like cities like Busan, Daegu, and Gwangju sometimes. But like those like big cities, you'll see other black people, but generally speaking, but it's not that, like it's just more people are curious. Like there's always an old lady, like on my bus I'm usually the only person under the age of 60 on like there, so it's just bunch of old people there, and they'll just like rattle off in Korean, and like I'll try to like pick up what they're trying to say. And like I already have like trained answers. I tell them, even though that's not what they're asking, that's what I usually just say. Just like okay, this is what I'm gonna say to them. Doesn't matter if that's what they were asking or not, but like and then it's just a lot of like
What about with the teacher, like the staff? Like what's the response like, the experience there?
Like I have a mentor teacher. His English is like relatively okay, so like most conversations we have, it's relatively easy. Just now and then there's a word he won't understand, and then you just need to translate it. But generally with him, like, so when I ever need anything that like school related, I just talk to him, or like even if it's just like outside school stuff, like maybe something from my apartment or something, like he will help me out.
So you have a good relationship?
With him teachers? And then the other teachers, they're very friendly. Like they mother me a lot. There's this one teacher who at break time, she's like she always feeds me. Like if I don't go to the teacher's room at break, she would actually bring whatever, like either a rice cake or a watermelon or like something. So they're very nice to me, so I can't really complain. They really like they try to make sure that you're having a good time all the time.
So what do you like the most about South Korea so far?
The convenience, the transport system, and the safety. Like, so like the convenience of just like it's not a hassle to get anything. Like even though like for certain things, like let's say like toiletries and stuff like that, it's probably very hard to find in Korean stores because they only supply for the majority of people. But you go online, there's a website called Kupang or Gmarket. You type whatever you're looking for, you place the order, you pay. You don't even have to leave your house. Like you pay using your banking app, and then it depends. Like it depends. If it's coming from the States, it will take like a week to come. But if it's something that's in the country, like 2-3 days, it's at your door because it's safe. No one will steal it. So you come, you wherever you come back, the thing is there. So that's very convenient. Like there's just a lot of convenience stores wherever you go. Like you will not like where I live, like 5 minutes from a convenience store. Like like you just like what if you need something at midnight, you can go there. You can go for it, and just the transport. The transport is like relatively very cheap to like go anywhere. It's very cheap to go anywhere, and it's efficient. It's always on time. Like it's never late. Like if it's late, it's like 1 minute late, 2 minutes late.
What's the best life advice you have received? Like something you live your life by that drives you. What's that one thing? Something that you heard that motivated you, or maybe there's a philosophy that you live your life by.
Like don't knock it till you try it.
Don't
knock it till you try it. So coming here, I was like, you know what?
Okay, that's a far-reaching statement, right?
Okay, something. Okay, let me.
Someone at one point said to me, people say don't knock it until you try, but they're like, there are certain things that you shouldn't try in terms of what, food or culture or what do you mean?
Okay. In terms of just like going somewhere or experiencing something, like people may have had bad experience. I know like black people who absolutely hated being here.
Okay.
Like they like, nah, it's time for me to go home. But I can't say that for myself. It's also the way you view something, because, for example, like you might think that, for example, when it happens a lot with Koreans, where they see you and they speak to you in a black American accent. Hey, what's up, man? Well, because they probably assume I'm from America, right? But then I think of it, I'm like, growing up, I watched a lot of like martial arts movies. They were generally Chinese movies. I could never differentiate between a Korean, a Japanese person, a Chinese person. They were all the same. Like even now when I call people back home and like they just like, hey, how's China? I'm like, I told you I'm in Korea. So I'm like, man, we do that to them. Like, so in a sense, like
it's like a double standard.
It's a double standard where like, so I don't get as offended. I just like depending on the person and how old they are, just like, yo, I'm not from America, like I'm South African. They're like, oh, okay. And then but then like usually they'll be like, and then next time if they see you again, they'll be like, oh, they'll actually remember where you're from and whatnot. But it's just ignorance. Just as I was ignorant thinking that all Asians are from China and everything is just China. I take a lot of things with a pinch of salt, like the experiences and stuff, and some people can't handle certain situations. I think that's why they don't have such a positive experience. But I also like a lot of things, I don't view them as racist because like I was subjected to a lot of like racism back home. So when I compare it, I'm like, it's not so bad. So maybe if it is racist, I'm just like, I've seen worse. So in that sense, I'm probably a bit more equipped to like deal with it, because if I could survive some of the things that I dealt with back home, like a Korean has never been like directly racist. They've said a bunch of like ignorant stuff to me and whatnot, but it's never been where I'm like, you know, man, that's like directly like affecting. Like for example, there are certain like pubs and clubs that don't allow foreigners in, right? In Korea, they don't allow foreigners.
I've heard it.
So for example, but I have like a diverse group of friends. I just don't have black friends in Korea. I have friends from other races, and they would say no foreigners. So it's not like, oh no, you black, you can't. So in a way, it's not as, doesn't hurt me as much, because I know it's all of us that experience it, and like so like I even have Korean friends, and then like sometimes they also get like a weird look when like these places like, oh, you with them, and then they don't know what to do. They're like, like, should we allow him and let them? And then sometimes it's just like, no, all of you guys, like so it's but that's the worst you can get.
So what's life like in South Africa? Because you said in South Korea, it's milder in terms of racism. So like, what's it like living in South Africa for you?
For example, South Africa is about roughly 80% black, like population-wise.
Okay.
And then the rest is like other races, right? Other minority races. But like my university was like a weird example where about 70% of the student body was white, even though the country doesn't reflect the country's like it had to do a lot of with the university's history and whatnot. So in that environment, I did experience a bunch of a few racist instances, and like other black people have told me like the things they've gone through, which was like horrific stuff, like people just hitting you because you're black, and like in McDonald's when they're drunk, this bunch of white kids will just hit you because the way you look. So like just by like knowing those stories and like experiencing some of the racial prejudices as well, coming here, it's more of a like more people here will just stare, and then like a lot of them are just curious. They want to take pictures of you, and well, they don't really touch my hair because it's not much to touch. But like I know, like with the women, especially like a few black women I've spoken to in this country, like they always get people they don't even ask. They just like pull your hair like without even asking. They just like touch your hair, and like you don't touch a black woman's hair. Like it's a rule. It's a universal rule. But like they don't know. But like overall, it's been more positive. Like even if it's like a cultural like encounter, it's been more positive than negative by far. Like it's like I've had a lot of instances where like I'd go out with friends, and then like they see you foreign, they'll be like, hey, come drink with us. I was like and then like they're like, no, don't worry, we'll pay for it and whatnot. And then because they were like, it's foreigners, like they just want to like, they're just curious, and they'll ask you a bunch of questions. But like I've had a lot of situations where it's actually more positive than negative. So
so I guess it really depends on one's experience in one's own country. Right, so that might make you have a thicker skin. It might make you more sensitive potentially. Right, because sometimes because you've gone through it so long, sometimes you might just be like, I ain't got time for this no more. Right, so there's so many different ways that people can respond to based on their own individual
and also
experiences.
like you just choose your battles wisely. I'm not gonna fight in every person who says something ignorant to me. I don't have energy for that. I'm just someone like, I try to be happy all the time and like push positive energy. So if some form of it depends on like how serious the situation is. If it's something that I see as mild, I just ignore it and just brush it off and move on. Like for example, was one time I was with my friends in Busan. This drunk Korean guy was walking, and like he deliberately walked into me. Like there was no two ways about it. Like he bumped me, and then it probably shouted some stuff in Korean which I don't understand. And then I just looked at him and continued walking. Like I didn't retaliate. I didn't say anything, even though he clearly bumped into me and did it on purpose. I just looked at him. I'm like, he's drunk. What am I gonna do? Like I was like, let's go. And then my other friends were like, dude, I would have like fought. I was like, nah, man.
It's funny because I had a conversation recently about that, because I saw a video where a girl said someone spat on her, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
And I see that as like one of the most disrespectful something.
Yeah, that was bad.
That someone can do to another person. And I'm just like, if you're in that situation, like, I think you should be able to defend yourself.
Yeah.
And I was talking to the person who's saying, I'm not sure, I can't verify this, so you guys can verify it, that you can't, physical altercation, like the person that starts it, like they have to compensate the victim. Right? So even if someone does something to you that's non-physical, right? If they maybe say something to you, or even apparently if they spat on you, or spit on you, you can't do anything. You just gotta maybe say something back.
It's true.
In kind, you gotta respond in kind as long as it's non-physical.
Yeah.
You're okay. But if you get physical, then
Yeah, you both
parties
implicated.
are in trouble. So you have to compensate. Like you gotta pay this person or something.
Like at the beginning of the year, we had orientation, and so we had a bunch of guest lecturers, and one of the lecturers was one of the guys from like the police department, and it was just like giving us like just a lay down of like the laws and like things that are like completely different. And they did mention that like if someone gets in a physical altercation with you, if you retaliate, you guys are both liable, even though you didn't instigate the fight. You guys are both liable, like in terms of whatever happens.
So if you don't do something, then you're compensated.
You can. I've never heard of a case, but
did he say that? What did the guy say?
no, the guy they just asked us.
He
like
just said you're both liable.
They gave us a scenario where someone hits you, and like what do you do? And then like someone answered like hit back, and then someone was like no. He's like that's wrong because you guys are both going to be like in trouble equally in terms of like and also because when you have to like give a police report, it's an eyewitness statement. They have the advantage because they speak the language. So I mean they can just spin something against you, and then like I mean
you always need to like have a camera always on.
Yeah, like but there's a lot of CCTV
like
in this.
Evidence.
There's a lot of CCTV in this country. There's a lot of CCTV footage. Okay. So depending on where it happens, obviously, but there's a lot of CCTV footage in like busy areas and whatnot. So chances are that if something does happen to you, it will get caught on camera. So by knowing that, rather just don't do anything, and then you can just report the person, say where it happened. They'll check the CCTV footage, and more often than not, they'll actually see that what you're saying is true, and then you will win in the end. So.
Okay.
I just generally don't like violence. So
yeah, of course,
I would not fight back.
Some countries talk about self-defense, which
I
think is important. I think someone should be able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
But it's good to know the information about it, right?
Yeah.
So you know exactly how to conduct yourself in a manner that's legal within the confines
of the law. Yeah.
So, indeed. So next question. What do you like the least about Korea? Is there anything else? Well, not else, but anything that sticks out, that rubs you the wrong way? You're like,
it's the spitting. Especially like
I don't even
middle age.
I don't even notice that much though, because people say that I've not noticed it that much, but you notice it a lot.
Go to like I see it a lot. I don't know. Like I think like when someone says it, you start paying attention to it. But like I also didn't pick it up at first, but like recently. But especially where there's like because public drinking is allowed. So when you find people drinking and smoking, you'll definitely find people just spitting everywhere. And it's like they even make the sound. That sound and the spit. And that's very disgusting. Like
and
I don't care.
That's what the girl said they did before they spat on her. That girl that got spat on when she was walking in the street. She said the guy made a sound. And he just like spat on her.
Yeah, that is just.
Wow.
So like the spitting is that's like the one thing that annoys me the most. What else I don't like about this country? It's just doesn't happen that much, but sometimes when you start cabs, when they see you foreigners, they won't stop. Like the one time, we actually got into the cab, and like I'm trying to show him where we're going. So I got the thing in Korean, like the address of where we're going in Korean, and like but it wasn't actually. It was like probably like a 7-minute drive. So it wasn't that far, but it was raining, so like we're definitely not walking to there. Like if we had to walk, it would take us about 20 minutes to get there, which is not too bad. But because of the rain, it's rain. We're like, nope, let's take a cab. And like I think the driver was like, yeah, he's not gonna make that much money because it's not a long trip. I don't know was it that or was because we were foreigners, but like he was just annoyed. He's like yeah. And like we were trying to communicate that he's not like going there or what. I'm like, yo, dude, like we're going there. Can you please? And they're like, yo, and I even showed him the address in Korean, like the way it's written in Korean, and he still didn't want to take us. So it happens from time to time where the cabs don't take you, but there's an app called Kakao Taxi. So if you're in Korea, just get Kakao Taxi. You type in the address, it picks you up. The driver knows where you're going, and it's like Uber basically. It's just like the driver knows exactly where you're going, and ever since I've used that, like I haven't had issues with like going somewhere, and also it also prevents the driver from taking the long way to get there, so they can.
That happened.
Yeah. Like there was a time where like my friend and I were in the cab and we were going somewhere. And I'm looking at the map, and like the map gives you like a route. Obviously, the map gives you the shortest route to get to a place. Like, man, why is he taking this street? And I'm like, as the location updates, I'm like, it's taking long. We're going in the right place, but it's taking so much longer. And
because you get paid by the distance,
the meter and what the distance and the time.
Yeah.
And like usually before you take a cab, you can see roughly how much it's gonna cost. And it was almost double it happens, but it happens in Seoul only. Like in Seoul they take chances, but in every other city that has not happened. Like I have not had that.
Wow.
Like actually much nicer in other cities.
Okay.
Which is weird because Seoul is bigger with more foreigners, but
I see.
Yeah.
So what are your ambitions for life here? Right, going forward 3 years from now, where do you see yourself?
So currently now I'm teaching, right? But I don't see myself doing that forever.
Okay.
So I want to do that for about 2 years, and in that time I wanna also like study the language as well, learn a bit of, and then see where I can apply like the different type. I want to be here for a while though, so see.
So what do you really want to do?
That's difficult. I'm not sure yet. So like I'm still like planning everything out, but I'm definitely not going to be teaching for like, I know people who've been teaching for 10 years. I'm like, that's not me. Like I want to do something that stimulates me more. Or, like teaching is good, but like it's a lot of like repetition and like, so I want to do probably something that's related to my degree, because I did like international relations, so something related somewhat to what I studied. So I can put my degree to use, obviously. So something somewhat related to what I studied. I was also looking at maybe just seeing, I know there's a lot of like master's programs that you can apply to at like a bunch of Korean universities. So I could also just, further my studies as well and have a tangible one. Something I can say that I have a degree from Korea. So, because I'm also thinking of probably like continuing. I know people like it's not a popular opinion, but I actually enjoyed school. Weirdly enough, like I'm not the best student, but I enjoyed just like being at university, like engaging with new concepts from day to day and just learning stuff. So I'm also thinking of maybe also seeing if I can like in a few years time like do a master's as well here.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Who is one person, dead or alive, that you'd like to have dinner with, and why? Anyone?
Dinner with.
Or a drink with, or a chat with.
A chat with.
For an hour.
Can I give two?
Yeah, that's fine.
Winnie Mandela, Nelson Mandela's like ex-wife. Like she passed away last year. So just like she was, like people always talk about how much Mandela suffered being in jail for 27 years, but man, she was, while he was there, she raised the kids, she kept the movement alive, and she had such a great impact that people generally don't celebrate her enough. So I would just like to pick her brain, just like to see what she thinks about certain things and whatnot. And I like to talk to people who I don't agree with, to see what makes them think the way they think. So probably someone like Idi Amin from Uganda. He was like, he killed a bunch of people in Uganda, and I just want to like find out like what was he thinking, and like because he started off as someone who was rebelling against like colonial rule, and he was seen as this great hero, and then he turns and does what the colonialists did to his people on a much greater, like more like on a worse level, where like people suffered more under his rule than they did under colonialism.
Wow.
So I just want to like know why he did what he did, and like because obviously people say power, like absolute power corrupts, but I feel like there's more to it. So just want to know why. So it's always, I think it's always healthy to even talk to those you don't agree with, just to like see their point of view as well.
If you could change one thing in the world, what would it be?
One thing in the world, if we could all speak one language.
It's funny. I think someone recently said the same thing.
Like a lot of things, just a lot of issues, and just like fighting, and just started by you not understanding someone. If we all spoke the same languages, you'll find other things to argue about. But I feel like the world will be much more peaceful if we could just all understand one language and speak one language.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so interested in picking up different languages, because it's not just about speaking, it's just about understanding someone. It's just like when someone speaks to you in a language, like I think Nelson Mandela said it. If you speak to, if you speak to someone in a language they know, it goes to their head. If you speak to someone in their language, you speak to their heart. So I think that's like just
I think I've said it before. My suggestion would be that every country can speak their native tongue, but there should be a universal language. So a language that all 190 plus countries in the world speak. So no matter where you go, you travel to, everyone knows that one language.
That one language.
I don't know if y'all can implement this, but I think there should be that one language movement that's universal. People say English is the closest thing to that.
But
I think it needs to be official. Like in every country, you have your language and the official world language.
World language.
Right? Because when you travel a lot, sometimes you're like, you gotta like find, Google Maps. You gotta find this, and it's like you can't really immerse yourself.
It just makes life so much easier into like when you speak someone's like there's so many times where I've met like Koreans who don't speak a word of English, but like you can see that like
interest.
The person's energy is like really good.
Yeah.
But like you have to speak a lot through like translation apps, or like even if you like keep in touch with this person, you guys can't have a nuanced conversation about anything because it has to be base level because of the language. Yeah. So like you meet a lot of people who are very interested in just you as a person, and it's very hard to like I meet like every time I like go out with friends and people, I meet a bunch of like people and like you exchange like contact information, you speak for a week or two, then like you'll know enough, it fizzles out because the language is not like you can't really talk about like in-depth conversations.
Okay, so tell me about a place in Korea that you think is a must visit, somewhere that you would say, okay, if someone is visiting South Korea, they have to visit this place.
There's a city it's a small city though, called Jeonju. Jeonju,
is Jeonju or Jeju?
Jeonju, Jeju is the island.
Okay, I'm here, I'm like, oh, he's pronouncing it wrong. You're like, no.
Jeonju, Jeongu. Sorry, Jeju. Okay. It's very like, it's famous for the food. So like the best Korean food you can get in Jeonju.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was there about 3 weeks ago, and the food is amazing. There's also like a Hanok village where like you wear like traditional Korean like attire, you just walk around the village, like you see like the old houses and whatnot. So Jeonju is a great place. Gwangju as well. It's a bigger city though. Gwangju, it's just there's nothing specific to do there. The people there are much different from like Koreans, because most people when they come to Korea they just go to Seoul, and like Seoul is not everything. Like you'll definitely pick up different types of like people in a place like Gwangju, and they're just much nicer. I've had so many, like most of my positive experiences in the country have been in Gwangju, so go there, and Busan, just like as a
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. So, what's your earliest memory? Going all the way back.
As a kid.
Yes.
No, there's two. I'm not sure which one came first.
Okay.
But the one it was my grandparents' house, and for some at the young age I used to like drinking tea. So they made me tea and cookies. So and then I went to the room, and then I slept, but I didn't sleep on the bed, because the bed from the floor to the bed, there was a lot of the bed for some, there was a huge space. So I went to go sleep under the bed. So I slept, and then like a bit of the tea, like the remaining tea, spilled a bit, and then like that woke me up, because like it was sticky and whatnot. So I woke up. So I needed to like leave the room, but I don't know how it happened. I was probably like 3 years old. I locked myself into the room. So there, I'm just like I could barely speak. So I'm just like knocking on the door, and now everyone else is like in the kitchen playing. The radio was on, so it was quite loud. So I was there for like, I don't know how long it was. I couldn't tell time, but it was very long. I just knocked, and then I couldn't reach the door. Because I was too small. So so I jumped and I knocked over the key, and then they put a piece of paper through, put the key there, and then they pulled it, and they opened for me. And that's my earliest memory. And also the other one was I was on my dad's shoulders. We went to go buy lemon twist. It's like a drink. It's like a fizzy drink. Yeah, so I don't know which one came first, but one, like I know like this one we were going, and there was a dog near the shop, a big ass dog, and yeah, yeah, I was very scared of the dog, but like so I was on my dad's shoulders going to buy lemon twist.
Okay. What's the biggest lesson you've learned in life so far?
Everyone has the potential to disappoint you. Even your heroes, even like anyone, your parents, your heroes, everyone has the potential to like somewhat disappoint you. So I've learned to not put people on such a high pedestal as I used to.
It sounds so cynical.
It does sound cynical, but
yeah,
everyone.
It's valid though.
We all flawed in somewhere or another. It doesn't matter if you're the nicest, the greatest person on the planet. We all have an area in life where we're just not the best person, and I think we just need to, as people, need to understand that no one's perfect. So just whenever you like meet people, just like you are with someone, just have that in mind. Like obviously like have the best intentions, like whatever it is, but just know that everyone is flawed in some way and no one's perfect. So yeah.
What would you say is your biggest accomplishment to date?
Coming here. I don't know anyone. I can't think of anyone in my family who's left Africa. I've been to like a few other African countries. Like sort of like some of my family members have been to like other African countries, but no one has left the continent.
Okay.
So just like leaving and like with no backup of like not knowing what to expect. I mean, anything could have gone wrong from the time I left at the airport to the time I got here, and just going into everything blindly. Like I was at the airport, like my mom obviously dropped me off and whatnot, but then from like when I had to transfer, I transferred in Hong Kong. I had to find everything. I was alone. Like I couldn't like obviously I could ask people like, okay, where's this place? But like I was alone in the sense that I had to figure out whatever I'm doing by myself. By myself with no form of support structure. So and they're just like coming here and like settling in comfortably where I can just like I can do anything. I can book a place, I can just take a bus to wherever in the country without anyone helping me. By coming here I've matured a lot as a person, and it's something I needed to do. And I don't think I would have like been at this place like mentally if I stayed at home. I would have still been in my comfort zone, and so that's my biggest, just coming here like and surviving.
What's the biggest misconception about Africa?
Africa. It's just that like the stereotypical like animals and whatnot roaming the streets, and also that like there's not much Africa can offer in terms of like wealth, skills. Like there's so many things, little things that I do in like at school, and they're like, wow, you're very smart. And I don't know if they're saying that because they're genuinely impressed by what I did, or is it because, oh, I didn't think a black person could do this. So you never know. Like, so I just take it. I just don't like. But like, it's a thing of where, like people don't think that Africa can offer them something, like the world something, and we have a lot to offer, like talent, like ideas, and just general stuff that Africa, I think Africans are probably more talented than any other continent. Like, because
How do you think we can change the misconceptions?
Just more of us coming here and just telling your stories, and just like showing off whatever you're good at, just show it off. And it's like, I remember at my school, in my introduction, my first class, I didn't like teach them anything. I just like showed them, I had a PowerPoint, showed them my family, and showed them like pictures of like places in South Africa. And like I didn't focus, I focused a lot in like the nicer places, because what they see is usually the poverty-stricken areas. So I'm like, I'm not gonna show any of that. They already know that. So I showed off the nicer places, like the more the more, I won't say tourist-friendly things you can do there. And like with every image I showed, they were surprised. They were like, whoa, this is in Africa? I'm like, yeah, like we have this as well. We have that. We have. So and then like if I tell them that like we have certain things, we also have this in South Africa, or like we have a version of whatever, and they were like, oh, I didn't know that. So it's just like, to change a perception is just like educate people as much as possible, but not don't be defensive, because as I mentioned earlier, all Asians look the same to me. Before I came here, all Asian people were the same to me. Like everything was China, but like now there's different countries, and you can actually I can actually tell if an Asian person is not Korean now, because just living here, you used to like. So just exposure to like African culture and African norms will definitely change that perception of like the way things are done, the way people understand stuff. Like people, even like they were like, you guys speak English in Africa? I'm like, well, I'm here and I'm teaching English. And so like even just something simple as that, but like a lot of things does help. Like I just think media itself, like for example Black Panther, like I think people underestimate like a movie like that, the impact it had on like just pop culture, because it was a different perception of, although it was a fictional place, just a different perception of what Africans are and what Africans can be.
Yeah.
So I just think we need more like Afrocentric stuff, which is why I always tell people when they come here, don't try to conform to the culture here. Like, consume it, yes, but always be yourself, even within a place that doesn't have people that look like you.
To sort of advertise your culture.
Yeah, advertise, I remember I was at a few months ago, I went to like a hip hop concert, but it was mostly Korean, right? Mm-hmm. So it was mostly Korean and whatnot. And so the guy was, this was one random Korean guy is like, why would you come to like I'm like, I like hip hop. We have hip hop in South Africa. So I was like, let me just experience a different. And then the guy was like, wait, so you guys have hip hop? So I'm like, yeah, it's like, recommend some artists. And I gave him a list of like people he can listen to from the country. And now that person knows a bit about South Africa that he didn't know before. Yeah. So it's just like
a cultural
exchange, and also just being proud of like the things like where you're from, and don't always try to just assimilate to everything. Like be yourself, and like, because if you're trying to be like assimilate and be someone you're not, it's easy for people to see that, and like it is, and like you will not survive here because there's a term that a bunch of foreigners use. We call them we call them career boos.
I see.
Career boos are like foreigners who are so invested in their culture, like they do everything, like they do like they just watch Korean dramas, they do like everything, like they just listen to Korean music, and the reason for coming here was just like to like consume as much of like Korean culture. Like those people, they're so invested in like this culture, which is good. Like I'm not saying don't consume like the culture here. Like I watch a few shows as well, and like listen to some of their music and whatnot, but like if you don't bring something from home that you used to, like I don't know, I feel like this place can get a bit much. So you need to like find that safe space that reminds you of home. And so with me, I generally just like I listen to like South African news. I watch like a bunch of like news stuff on YouTube, listen to like the music, and I always keep up with what's happening. But like a lot of like foreigners tend to just come here and like close off, and like they try to be Korean, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem genuine.
So where can people find you online?
Instagram, it's Setshaba, so it's SETSHABA _. So Setshaba _ on Instagram. On Twitter is Uncle Chubbs, but it's spelled UNKEL.
Okay, so guys, so there you have it, right? So Setshaba, right? Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned something, enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up, and remember to subscribe to this channel for weekly videos on the Black experience across the globe. Until next time, bye for now.